in Northern California, where I can report there is, relatively speaking, not very much weather. For most of my adult life, however, I have lived on the East Coast, where there is lots of weather. I had to learn, therefore, as an adult, that doing everyday things like going to the grocery store have to be coordinated with the weather forecast. If you want to get your regular grocery shopping done, it is very important that you don't try to do that when a giant storm is in the forecast. Because when a giant storm is in the forecast, it apparently activates a primal animal instinct to hoard and burrow just in case you get snowed in or something. You've got to have all of your provisions with you at that time. Learning that was an important part of becoming an East Coaster in my life. Bad weather forecast equals mobbed grocery store. But I've also learned that if you are trying to do your grocery shopping in the least possible time, if you are trying to do your shopping as fast as it can be done, one of the best ways to do that is to show up right before the store is about to close, right when the store is closing. Right when the store is closing? But wait, shouldn't the people who work there have tons of other stuff to do at that time? Yes, they do. That's exactly the point. They want to get you out of there so they can get their stuff done and they can go home. This does not mean that the people who work at the grocery stores are slow walking you or slow rolling you the rest of the day. It just means that the incentives are all there for you. Their work, their work consists of dealing with you in large part. The incentives are there for you to be over with as their work, for you to be done so they can do what they want to do, which is to finish up all the stuff they need to do and go home. It is just a natural incentive. It probably even works in California, although I have never tried it there. That phenomenon, that closing time phenomenon, turns out to be the thing that explains why the United States Senate looks like an episode of Benny Hill right now. Congress. This is the interregnum period in Washington. This is supposed to be a slow news period when it comes to U.S. politics. But there has not been more legislative action. There has not been more stuff going on in Washington at any other time in this entire year than there is going on right now.
We must complete the tax bill. We're going to move as soon as we can to the START treaty. We have to fund the government. We've got to make sure that we complete work on the DREAM Act. If the House completes work on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we'll have to work on that. We have the 9/11 situation in New York. We still haven't given up on that. We have a number of nominations we're working on.
If you want to find a time that there was this much, all that stuff going on in D.C., where there was this much important action on the docket, you would have to go all the way back to this time exactly last year. Which was, again, supposed to be a dead period, a quiet interregnum, a time when people in the news business had vacations scheduled because no big news ever happens around this time of year. But what was going on this time last year, even on Christmas Eve, what was happening?
A lot of Americans will be getting up early tomorrow, including U.S. senators. They've been told to report to work, believe it or not, at 7 a.m. because it apparently is really happening now, a final vote on the health care bill.
A Christmas Eve vote on health reform in the United States Senate. Why does stuff stall all year long, and then this time of year it takes off like it is in fast motion? It's because the people who work here want to go home. Get your stuff bagged, forget your rewards cards, it's time to go, move it. You do not have to go home, but you can't stay here, everybody out. This is not just sociology about human incentives. This is political science right now, because this is not an accident. It has not always been true that stuff got done only at Christmas time in Washington, only at the end of the legislative session. This is a political phenomenon right now, and not just a grocery store phenomenon at the end of the night, because of something really dramatic that has happened really recently to the American political system. Look at this. This is the way the Senate works. This is 1919 to just before Republicans in the Senate went into the minority in 2006. So this is how the Senate worked from 1919 until just before Republicans became the minority. Then, the last time Republicans became the minority, what happened? Boing. Look at that. What you're looking at there is the breaking of the United States Senate as an institution. What these are is filibusters. This is when the Senate decides to take the extraordinary measure of making something take 60 votes to pass instead of 50 votes. And that's impossible. Supermajorities are impossible. You cannot actually pass things with supermajorities in an ongoing way. This is not the way that legislatures function. It is never the way that America's legislature has functioned. If you're going to require a supermajority, it means that effectively this body has ceased to function. It has ceased to function as a normal majority rules legislature. This is how Republicans broke the Senate. They have turned the Senate into a Republican stronghold, not while they were in the majority, but since they've been in the minority. Since they lost the Senate, they have turned it into a stronghold for their own party by using power that the Senate minority is usually entrusted to not abuse. They've used that power to break the institution. Even though they are the minority, even though there are less than 50 of them, significantly less than 50 of them, they exert all of the leverage. They get what they want. Which not only means that policies get changed to try to appeal to them, it also means that the calendar just stretches on and on and on and on with nothing ever getting done. That's their preference. They are filibustering the funding of the military right now. That's passed every year for 48 years. It is being filibustered by Republicans right now. It's on the docket. They are filibustering the appointment of people to relatively low-level political jobs at middle management levels at cabinet agencies you cannot remember the names of. People who are not famous, people who are not controversial, but who are nevertheless subject to this extraordinary supermajority rule, this extraordinary thing that was never supposed to be used the way it's being used. But because Republicans are using it the way they are, nothing gets done. And they have found that strategy to be in their political interest, to get as little done as possible.